Well, everybody, Happy New Year. Welcome to season 4 of Black Men Speak. I'm your host, Keith Den, and I'm really excited to be back. I hope everybody had a happy and safe holiday, and hopefully, you're really looking forward to a spectacular 2023. It's been restful for me for the past couple weeks, kind of except for um, we had lost someone very close to us. Shout out to Eddie Broussard, who is the father of one of my great friends, Chris Broussard, and he was very close to my parents as well. So, it was really a little bittersweet, but I know he's in a better place. And so I just wanted to talk about that first before we get started. But other than that, I'm really looking forward to this season. We have some great guests. I'm going to be doing over the next couple of weeks, going to be doing a special project with Georgetown University men. And so we're really going to touch upon some of the challenges that they might be going through on predominantly white institution. So look for that in the next couple of weeks. But today we have a great guest on, and we're going to be talking to a professor from Historically Black College, Professor Ovell Hamilton, who serves as assistant professor of history at the prestigious Morehouse College. And we're going to be talking about something that, to be honest, I didn't think was even existed on campus. And it's kind of like the metaversity, operating classes in the metaverse. We've heard, you've seen commercials, over the holidays about the metaverse, but I think universities maybe have taken the lead on kind of creating the platform for college students to learn. So they're really racing to this immersive learning experience through this virtual reality, which has basically exploded over the last 5 years. And a lot of it has been happening in kind of the medical technology field. So it's still relatively new, but Morehouse has embraced it, this new medium, and Dr. Ovell Hamilton being the first instructor kind of to teach world history and U.S. history using the virtual reality platform. So what's so exciting is that this semester, actually next or in a couple of days, they're going to be rolling out a course called The History of African Diaspora Since 1800. So I'm sure there's got to be a lot of things that they could talk about. And that's why I brought them on today, because I really wanted to hear about what are some of the things that these young people are going to learn, and what has been the experience overall. So Dr. Hamilton, how you doing today?
All right. How you, Mr. Dent? All right.
I'm doing great. So being the first instructor to kind of teach in the metaverse, if you could kind of talk about what makes that difference than just going to regular class, and then why did you decide, or how did you actually even get involved in the medium in the first place?
Okay. Well, we started at Morehouse College with the first Metaversity. Back in we started planning in 2020, during the pandemic, and that's how we got started, because we was looking for other mediums besides Zoom, Microsoft, and other mediums that you use to go online. But we wanted a total immersive, interactive, real life experience, and virtual reality offered that experience. Now, for myself, I sort of had it by accident. It was one of my colleagues, who was an English, Dr. Tanya Clark, who was chosen for the Metaverse to use English. She said, "Well, how about Ovell in history? He'll be a good asset for us to have as well." And so she brought me on, just mentioning my name. And so myself, Dr. Vereen, who's in biology, Dr. Messina Morris, who's in chemistry, and Dr. Tanya Clark in English, we became the first Metaverse professors, and we rolled out classes in 2021. My class being the first class in world history, where I taught world history on a Metaverse platform, beginning with Napoleon's invasion of Russia. where I created a battle scene and a map to show where Napoleon invaded. And I had videos going to make like you're on the battlefield. I
Oh,
had a
wow.
sky plane that you can look down upon the battle as well. And so the students were totally immersive and interactive in that process. And so that's how we got started.
Wow. Kind of just based on that alone, was there a lot of so was there a lot of so of course in a regular class, I'm
Mhm.
sure you have a kind of a lesson plan and things of that
Yeah.
nature to kind of guide the class. But this sounds like you have to kind of create the battle scenes or
Yes. So, and what happens is Victor XR, the company that we work with President Steve Grubbs, he allows us to use all these different platforms. We have about I think it's about 8,000 artifacts and
okay.
about 150 different uh, classroom settings that you can use.
Oh, I
Battlefield,
see.
battleships, underground railroad museums, and things like that, which I'll be teaching in this semester coming. But you have all these different spaces. You can go to different Great Wall of China, the jungles of rainforests of Africa. You can go to the bottom of the ocean. You go out in Mars and space as well. So you have all these different platforms that you can teach your kids and have them
Oh,
actually
okay.
experience what they're going through and what they're learning about as well.
So
Not
so
just
this the
basic
scenes
hand.
are chosen for the scenes are chosen for you, or they have a
Yeah,
series
they
of
have a sketch.
scenes. Okay.
And
Oh,
and what I did was my battleship that I built, like I say, the World War II battle that I built. They had the battleship, but I added everything else. I added like torpedoes in the water, submarines, and things like that. Because I'm an
wow.
old Navy veteran. I'm a Navy veteran.
Okay.
So what I want the kids to feel how it is to be on a ship. So I make them use ship language while we're on the ship as well. And so I teach them that as well.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Mhm.
Um, and so basically talk about the class structure and how does it differ from just a regular class?
Oh yeah, and what I did was, like I said, when we did our traditional classes, we come in and we hit a lecture on history, and it's pretty much static. You listen to the professor; he talks about different plans, different events that going through a time. But with virtual reality, not only can I lecture on the history, say we're doing China, we talk about the history of China's the different dynasties and the building of the Great Wall. But not only do I talk about that in class and lecture on it, I'm able to take them into the metaverse and we can actually go stand on the Great Wall of China, show them where the dynasties were built and show them the key people in the dynasties and things like that. And they can see the structures and then get a very glimpse, a very historical glimpse of how everything took place. And it's like sort of like say, going back in time, actually seeing what was going on and have a better interpretation of history and a better understanding of the past and what the key significant events of the past are. So you're not just sitting in a static classroom and just going to sleep, listening to the instructor and things like
Right.
that. So you're actually interactive. You're actually doing it, feeling artifacts, touching artifacts, and actually interacting and using some artifacts as well. And so that's the like I say the great nature of virtuality is that they're totally immersed in their environment, what they're doing. They're actually feeling history, touching history, and being moved by history at the same time.
Wow. Okay.
Mhm.
And that's an interesting, so kind of segueing to kind of the experience the students go through, and I think you kind of touched upon that.
Mhm.
Since that is since we're really talking about Black men, this is kind of
Yeah.
the theme. Have you noticed a difference in how young Black men respond to the class? Because I'd like to hear how they, and it's really based probably on your teaching style. You probably, have a way to keep them engaged. But did you see a change in how they started to interact actually in the classroom, or even just in college in general? Because there's more than one metaverse class.
Right. Yes. What I saw was a great improvement, especially in I saw academic improvement, and I think that's due to you got to come to class if if you're going to participate. You got to come to class. But I saw great attendance for the metaverse, and I saw a greater uplift and motivation to learn in the metaverse because students, like say, may be shy in class and may talk about, but when they're behind the metaverse and they create their own avatar, they're coming out doing things and they're more engaged and they're volunteering more, they're participating more. So it's so like, it's everybody's is like engaging at the same time, and you don't feel like that you're, nobody's going to judge you or nobody's going to down you or things like that. So you just, being yourself, and you participating and you're interacting socially. And even Stanford did a study on that as well, and showed the interaction between the students and also the professors during that time that has increased, and the metaverse is a great medium for that. So I like to say, increase in academics, increase in attendance, and also increase in motivation to learn as well. Mm-hmm.
That's interesting because is it because they could hide behind the avatar, or kind of create a different character, as opposed to being in a classroom? They were exposed
Right.
more or less.
No, it's like, I think it's not necessarily hide behind the avatar, but it's able to able to enhance their creativity. Like say that some of them come in with, like, with the Panama Jack hat. I don't know if you remember Panama Jack or not.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Show my age. But they come in like with different explorer hats, or they may come in with sunglasses and, and things, just to be an extension of their personality. And like I said, and like I say, it's not them hiding, but just showing their creativity on what they can do in the medium, and showing their, putting themselves and their ideas forth. And so, and it's like a non-judgment kind of atmosphere that they in. So they're able to be more creative and more outspoken if they want to be as well. Because we do presentations in the metaverse. Like I said, we may do it in the Roman Coliseum, or we may do it in Japan or somewhere, just to give them that kind of feeling that we're international travelers and things like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and that was what I was going to ask you as well, because I guess usually in a Zoom classroom,
mm-hmm.
usually really only one person can speak, and there's kind of a delay, and especially if there's a group project, there's a little bit of challenge there. Right. In the metaverse, is that kind of the same thing, or is everyone able to talk at the same time, or do you kind of have to raise your hand?
Yeah, they can talk at the same time when we're doing group projects and things like that. Mm-hmm. But if they're disturbed, I can hit is a button in the metaverse I can hit that can silence that part, so they won't disturb other people in the class as well. It's called 3D voice that I hit. And what I can do is I can silence that part and just only hear the people that I'm trying to listen to at the same time. But it won't disturb them because they're doing their project, and so they won't disturb us because we're doing a project over here. So it's everybody can talk at the same time.
Oh, I see. Okay, mm-hmm. So you can even separate the students if they are working in groups.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's pretty neat.
Mm-hmm. And then if I want to call them all back, say, we did Dinosaur Island, which is a vast metaverse platform where we're running with the dinosaurs and looking at different dinosaurs. Okay. So, but this island is so huge that they can get away from me in the metaverse. But I have a summons button. I can call them all back at the same time.
Oh, okay.
We be right at one spot.
Oh, right, because they may be off in some other land, right. looking for bones or whatever, like they're in Jurassic Park.
Right, there you go. And so if they get lost, I can just summon them and they come right back to me.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So let's move to the class actually that's coming up, which really intrigued me when I saw the article, the history of the African diaspora since 1800. Mm-hmm. So what are some of the things that will be covered in the class that you're really excited about?
Oh, yes. Well, I love this class. Like I say, it's one of my favorite classes to teach because in the history of diaspora since 1800, I start off with the Haitian Revolution. And we study the Haitian Revolution and how it impacted America, how that actually, America owes Haiti a great debt when they sold that land to Thomas Jefferson for cheap after they beat Poland out there. So I start with that lecture. And then in the metaverse, our first course setting would be the Amistad, the slave ship Amistad. Mm-hmm. So we actually go on the slave ship and we look at Cinque and how they, battled, how they will take over again. I do ship language because I want to teach my kids the ship language and the different settings on the ship and things like that. But I also want to teach the importance of showing how our ancestors were at these coffins, these floating coffins, and they were brought to America, and to see that impact on them. Now, some people I saw, especially on Instagram, there have been negative impacts there. Well, you just teaching about slavery. No. This class is more than just slavery. The reason I taught because that was also triumphant because they won their court case and they were sent back to Africa as well because the slave trade was illegal. And so we look at that. We look at the Underground Railroad Museum with Frederick Douglass, Harriet Tubman. We also look at Civil War battlefields with Black soldiers that I teach about, the 54 Massachusetts, the Kansas Regiment on the battlefield. We go to World War I battlefield with Black soldiers, 369 Harlem Infantry Brigade, the Harlem Hellfighters. I teach about them. Also, we do World War II battles, and we go over a bombing raid in a bomber in Germany, and go through a bombing raid, take the kids on the class in the bombing raid as well. And probably the key thing is that the Civil Rights Movement, we actually have the Edmund Pettus Bridge, where I can take the kids on the Edmund Pettus Bridge.
Oh, wow.
Bridge, and we see the police down there waiting on us.
Waiting on you. Oh, wow. Okay.
Exactly. So that's one of the key elements too. With Martin Luther King, we got his. We'll be going to the March on Washington in '63, August of '63. Listen to Martin Luther King give a speech during that time. I Have a Dream speech. Going to Memphis, also where he was assassinated in '68 as well. So we're going to do all those. And I forgot one. Tulsa, Oklahoma. We have a scene of Tulsa, the riots that happened in Tulsa, Oklahoma as well, to take them there and show what happened during those riots as well. So it's going to be open to the vast information for African American history and also the African diaspora as well.
That sounds very very dynamic. And so do you find that the students know most of the topics that you're discussing in some aspect, especially since it's a historically Black college, or are they really learning these things for the first time?
I'll have to say most of them, I think, like especially when I dealt with the Haitian Revolution, I would say only maybe 10% had heard of the Haitian Revolution, and as far as when I first taught on that. And then since we go in depth, now they know the shell of some of the civil rights movements. You know, they heard of the Edmund Pettus Bridge, but when we go into detail, a lot of them, I'd say probably 90% don't know the details of the findings or the events or what happened during the events and who were the key players in those events as well. Because we go into more in depth, not just a shell of what you get on Black History Month and things like that. So we actually dive into it and get to the nuts and bolts of everything that's happening going on.
Okay. And so, I mean, since it is immersive, do they have to are they put in particular scenes where for example, let's say they were Rosa Parks, and
yes,
I know that's probably not a bad one because they definitely know what happened there. But let's say they were Rosa Parks and they were on the bus, and would they have to kind of talk about how they would navigate that situation, or is it just more they kind of just as if they're bystanders learning what happens, as if it's like a video, so to speak?
Yeah, and what I teach with Rosa Parks as well is try to get them the emphasis on why she did it and the emphasis on what was taking place at that time. But what I've added a question for my students on that. Was the Montgomery bus boycott the start of the civil rights movement? Because many people think it was Rosa Parks in December of '55. Then I said, well, we had Emmett Till in August of '55. So we compare and contrast those different movements and those different events. Was it Emmett Till who was lynched in August of '55? Because Rosa Parks stated that that the reason she sat down because of the lynching of Emmett Till, she couldn't get that image out of her mind. That's why she protested. So we have to, sort of like look in detail of the civil rights movement and the motivation of Rosa Parks on the lynching of Emmett Till and things like that. And so that's why I include the piece on the riots and lynching as well. But we go to, like, say, an in-depth analysis on like what caused the civil rights, what motivated people doing the civil rights, and the impact that it had at that time and during our time as well.
Okay.
So we do those great analytics on those different movements.
Yeah. So I know thank you for that. I know you mentioned that you're not the only class. There are several classes that are using the metaverse. Do you see colleges moving towards that medium, or in the future, or at least what do you think the percentage may be that they'll move to that?
Well, I give you the numbers now. Like I say, when we before January of this year, there were 10 metaversities that came on after Morehouse College, after we launched in 2021. 10 other universities, I think North Dakota State, University of Kansas Medical School, University of Maryland Global Campus, and that first 10, we call them the initial 10. And then I told you Alabama A&M and I think Florida A&M and another HBCU also came on as well. But since then, since January of 2023, 60 more colleges have came on to use the metaverse, and just during that span, 60 more universities just came on to have a metaversity campus. Yeah, so 60 more have been added.
Wow, that's that's fantastic, and
Right.
just the fact that Morehouse is leading the way,
And Morehouse is number one. Yeah, the first one.
Which is did the university get a lot of publicity over this?
Yes, well, I've been on, like I say, myself and Dr. Morris. I've been on NBC News, different segments of NBC News.
Okay.
We've been on the local stations here, WSB TV here in Atlanta. We've been on, like I say, Black Enterprise, Ebony, The Griot, and other different channels, online channels as well. So then we won like 3 or 4 awards already as well.
Nice.
Innovation in the classroom as well. So yes, we get in that publicity,
Right. So with that, what would you say is the downside of using the metaverse for
I say the downside is having access to, I would say having access to a strong internet. That's one of the downsides, because what I'm trying to do is bring this program into a lot of rural areas, rural community schools.
Okay.
The downside is having access to broadband and internet. I said that's one of the downsides, because I think they need this program, because, like I say, they're closing a lot of, especially in my hometown, they're closing a lot of rural schools in Arkansas, and they're trying to bus these kids 30 and 40 miles away to get to another school. And I think the metaverse will offer them a chance to stay in their area, and then have the teachers come to them, and they can go into the metaverse and have a better learning experience, and have access to licensed teachers, and pretty much uplift their environment and uplift their economy in that town as well.
Oh, so basically, you're talking about the high school level.
Yes, high school level. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, bring them to the high school level. Yes,
high school level, right?
Right.
Because I guess it is a challenge to get, especially students without access to great schools,
right?
And that kind of levels the playing field. And one, it makes it also a lot more creative. And students are, they're basically going online anyway,
right?
If they're a gamer, or if they're on TikTok or what have you. I mean, and even Discord, which is kind of a medium where they can talk to their friends online and play games or what have you. So that's great to see. And so what kind of feedback have you actually, because I know we thought about having a student on tonight, but I think due to difficulties couldn't make it. So what's some of the feedback that you've heard? I would assume you've done you do surveys at the end of class. And what are some of the feedback you've been given?
A lot of the feedback that I've gotten has been very positive on the metaverse. They said stuff like best class ever, greatest time I've had. I wish everybody else can experience this. Things like wow. And it's just like, say, once you go into the metaverse and once you put that headset on and go into these different worlds, it opens up every kind of aspect of learning to you, and you have access to everything. And so it, like you say, levels the playing field. No matter where you are, and who you are, what background you have access to all this knowledge and learning online in the metaverse. And so, like I say, it levels the playing. And so all the students have been just raving about it. For this semester, I have a lot of repeat students in my class who took me last semester, so they're taking me again this semester.
Okay,
different class, but they are repeat students. I call them repeat students because, like, they take me again. They're taking me again, and even I heard from my other colleagues that in biology, in journalism, and sociology, their kids also, like, say, raving about how much they've learned in the program, how much they have access to different knowledge, different bases of knowledge, different kinds of, like, say, assets that the metaverse brings to them. So I've heard positive impact on that side as well.
Okay. And yeah, and I know we didn't touch upon just your journey a lot,
Mhm.
but how did you actually get into studying history in the first place?
Uh, well, I'm a Morehouse grad, 1993.
Okay.
When I was a sophomore, I was a biology major, and so I switched to history like my sophomore year at Morehouse. And Professor Rodney, who was a mentor of mine, and then I went on to, like say, major in history. After that, I was in the ROTC program, which I joined the Navy. I had to serve my time in the Navy. I
Hmm.
retired in the Navy from 2009, did 20 years in the Navy, and
Oh
then
wow.
after
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, and after I was my last couple years in the Navy, I got my master's in history at Georgia State University. And then once I retired from the Navy, I went back and completed my PhD in history. And then I came back to my alma mater and started teaching history at Morehouse. So I'm right back where I started as a freshman.
Okay. Okay.
And
And
so,
oh, so you were in the Navy, so I
yeah.
guess that means you did you travel a lot? Where were some of the
Oh
unique
yes,
places that
yes.
you
Well,
went to?
I was overseas. I was in Spain, Turkey, Portugal. We was in the Mediterranean, off the coast of Africa. Been all over the United States, of course, from California to Maine, different bases and things like that. I started out on submarines in Groton, Connecticut, as a submarine sailor, and so I traveled, like say, to different spaces there. I've done Mediterranean cruises. And also like say hidden different countries in the like say on the in the Mediterranean side in Europe. I was trying to get to the Pacific, but they canceled my orders to go over there. But like I said, I did most of my sailing in the Mediterranean.
Okay. Oh,
Mhm.
nice.
Mhm.
And did that kind of help spurn your love of history, or was that always something that you
Uh,
enjoyed?
I think my love of history comes from my father, the late Hugh Dale Hamilton, who was a what I call a griot of our community.
Okay.
He was like say the knowledge, the a guy with the wisdom and knowledge, and the you might say the genealogy of our community coming from Poplar Grove, Arkansas. He knew
Oh
my
wow.
people would always say about my dad. Not only did he know what day you were born, he knew what time you were born.
Oh wow. Okay.
And so he had that memory and that like say that memory and knowledge that the community quickly gravitated him. They needed an answer to anything historical. It would be him. And
And
so
what was the population of where you grew up?
population. I see where I grew up. Maybe a couple hundred. Maybe a couple
Couple
hundred.
hundred.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Not too many.
But he knew everything that happened in the town,
Yeah.
everything, anything that
Yeah.
you needed to know. He was the one to go
He was
to.
one, right? Mhm. And then he like say he kept a historical record in his mind. Yeah. So.
Okay. And I mean, and just for arguments, did he actually write them down?
No, he just spoke them. He just kept them in his mind. Yeah, he never wrote anything down.
So that's interesting. So how will that history be passed down?
Well, I memorized some of it, but like I say,
Okay.
a lot of it he took the grade with him. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
and like I say, I memorized some, and I wrote down a little bit what I could,
Okay.
and like I say, but by the time he got sick, and he died in
Mhm.
1990,
Yeah,
my
sorry.
first year at Morehouse. So,
Okay.
like I say, I wasn't able to get a lot of information. So, like I say, he took a lot of it with him. Yeah.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Mhm,
Okay.
mhm.
Two more things. So if so, let's just say someone that wasn't in university, um, just a regular individual that wanted to really learn more and use the platform. How could they do it, and what would be the
Uh,
best way?
oh, It's a good question. I never really had that question before. I would say, like say, if then, like say, our program is specifically meant for students. But what I was suggesting, and like Dr. Morris and others were suggesting, a community push for this as well,
Mm,
because we're trying to offer. I know with Victor XR and the president, they're trying to offer. Like say programs in technology, programs in healthcare, and programs in like carpentry and plumbing in the metaverse as well.
mm,
So not only be just for students, but be for adult learning. Adults like you were just saying, people that
okay.
were not connected. But so it'd be like say a community push after like say we've done the schools and we're trying to go to the high schools, but it'd be also a community program for those who didn't finish school or those who want to finish school now can come back and use the metaverse, use the platform for these different programs like in technology, healthcare, plumbing, carpentry, and other fields as well, the career fields. So yes, that's definitely a push that we definitely Victor XR has talked about doing in the community.
Interesting.
Mhm.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I could see it lending very well to the high school,
Yeah,
to high schools,
right.
because
Mhm.
especially schools that are a little bit under resourced, because
Right,
that's the
exactly.
biggest thing.
Yeah, the biggest
Uh,
problem with a lot of those schools that we see, they can't keep the teachers in those, like the small towns where there's no malls, there's no, no economic viability.
right.
So it's hard to go keep a teaching core there. And so the thing is that you can get certified teachers through the metaverse and through online virtual learning, what we have, get online teachers, get like say class instruction that's valuable and to increase learning for the students. Like say, and it's sort of win-win for everybody.
Right.
Like you have your students core and you have your teaching core, which like I say will uplift the community and hope. And what our hope is that the virtual reality program will build those communities and be an uplift to those communities.
Okay. And who is there a school or a community that's really taken the lead to do that sort of thing?
I'm trying to do my hometown.
Okay.
Well, my high school was Barton High School in Arkansas.
Okay.
The neighboring high school, our rival, Marvel High School, they're trying to close it right now.
Oh,
And
wow.
so what I did was a lot of myself and other Marvel alumni called me because they knew I was teaching in the metaverse and told me to write up a program about the metaverse to see if it can help the schools stay open. And so I did write a proposal. And so we talked to some senators, we talked to the Board of Education. And so we're trying to push to try to get the school to be the first high school in the world, first public high school, first public high school in the world to go to the metaverse. And that would be in that little town, Marvel, which is 1,000 people.
Oh,
And they would have the
wow.
first public high school in the world on the metaverse. And so that's what we're trying to do now.
That's so all of basically all their classes would be on the metaverse.
Yes, be in the metaverse. Yes, you have the math, the science, which they're lacking, the math and the sciences, and they're lacking certified teachers in those areas. And so they would be able to get those certified teachers in the metaverse. And like I said, they would put on the headsets and go and learn in the metaverse. And it teaches them. Like I say, when you're in the metaverse and even Dr. Morris, when she did this, it was supposed to be a space program in the metaverse, but she turned it into them building molecules and different atoms in the metaverse. But they're out in space, but they're building it's like you're an atom.
Right.
You're supposed to be studying planets, right? The Earth and the
yeah.
But she turned into you build atoms and build different molecules and things like that, and you just in space building all these different atoms and molecules.
Oh, right. So that's because that's really the biggest problem is the certified teachers.
Yes.
Having the teachers.
Right.
Exactly. In the rule because because it's of course that's the biggest cost for any community is paying the teachers.
Right. And the thing is about with the metaverse is that you can get what Steve Grubbs, the president, said, you can get about 10 certified teachers in the metaverse per one salary of teacher down there in the rural area. So you get 10 certified to one.
Wow.
Because most of the teachers in the metaverse that's under him, they already retired and they're just looking for,
oh, right. Yeah, there's no
so you don't have to pay them benefits, you don't have to pay them all this. They just there to teach.
Oh, that's interesting.
So you save money that way as well.
Well, this has been a great education. Thank you for that. For coming on and kicking off the first episode. And so you have a lot of firsts. So the first episode is season 4.
Okay.
But what I always like to end my podcast with, you always talk about accomplishments and things of that nature, but we never kind of delve into the man or the person itself. So my question I always end the show with is, as a Black man, how are you feeling, right now? And not just about the state of where you're in or just in general.
Okay. As my feeling, I just feel like potential. That's my word, because I see the potential of this, like say my work in the metaverse, my work in school, potentially being great, not just enhancing myself, but enhancing others as well. And that legacy and the impact is what, like my parents taught me, and my family taught me, is everlasting, because I was at a funeral not too long ago, last week, and I was saying that we actually live forever because when you spread your knowledge and wisdom into your children, they spread it to their children. They spread it to their children. So it's like that influence you have lives on forever, even though your body's dead. The influence lives forever.
Yeah.
That's I think that's where I'm looking at, and like I say, I feel great because the potential that I have to influence others and help others along the way, and like I say, be a drum major, as Martin Luther King said, with his birthday coming up here,
Yeah.
as well as birthday celebration coming up, and be a drum major for justice, for drum majors for especially educational justice as well.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that's a great way to kick off the season 4, especially with Martin Luther King's birthday tomorrow. And you are doing great work. You are leading the way. I mean, and look, you started with the first class. Now there's 60 plus classes.
Right.
So
60, yeah.
So great. And so thank you very much. And I look forward to hearing, if you get the high school thing off the ground, just let me know. I look forward to hearing about it.
All right, sure, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too. You too.
So there you have it. What a great way to kick off the class. I want to really try to find Metaverse class, just for individuals. I have actually a VR headset, or my son does anyway, and use it for good. And who knows what can happen from it. So, like I said, a lot of great things that are going to be happening in 2023. I'm really looking forward to a couple weeks because we're going to do our kind of a special segment with Georgetown men because that's my university, and I'm looking forward to connecting on that. So those of you that are here tonight, stay tuned and look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks. Have a great night.